Welcome to Momatize Your Passion, the podcast for moms looking to use their passions to make a positive difference in the lives of others. I'm Tara Lawn, content strategist and certified life coach. I'm here to help you leverage the power of content creation and organic marketing so you can turn your passion and purpose into profit or a mission. Thanks for joining me. Hey mom, I just wanted to jump in here really quickly again. Are you ready to monetize your God-led passion without the overwhelm? Well, I've created something quick, easy, and practical just for you. The Monetize Your Passion audio bundle is a 14-part collection of powerful, God-centered audio lessons curated from this podcast. Plus, it includes a detailed printable workbook to walk you through the process. You'll learn how to clarify your God-given passion, define your niche and audience, grow with organic marketing, set meaningful goals, plus more. This is perfect for moms, and for a limited time, it's only $27. You can pause when you need to, pray through each step, and let God lead your journey. Click the link in the show notes to download your audio bundle today. All right, let's get into this episode. Hello and welcome to the show. So I'm excited. I have a special guest on today, Leighanne Littrell, who is a former actress. She's a producer, entrepreneur, and the wife of Backstreet Boy, Leighanne Littrell. She's also a hands-on mom and manager to their son, Bailey, who you may remember from American Idol. He's a rising singer-songwriter, and Leighanne does so much. That's just a little snippet of what she does. I cannot wait to get into this conversation with you so you can get to know her better. All right, let's get to it. Hi, Leighanne. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I'm happy to have you. So before we get into the heart of the conversation, why don't you just tell us a little bit about you, your background, like how you grew up and the pursuits that you had early on?
Goodness. How I grew up. Well, I think maybe like I grew up in a traditional, like my mom was a hairdresser, my dad was a firefighter. We grew up with kind of just like a normal upbringing. Um, Two sisters, older sisters, and in Atlanta, Georgia, or actually Marietta, Georgia. And yeah, just like I guess just like anybody else when we grew up in the heart of Marietta, Georgia, and I got the bug to be in the entertainment business really early on. I think I was always a performer, and my mom like encouraged it, and so from there things grew. You know, she put me in modeling school, which was really funny back in the day.
Yeah.
Modeling school was a thing, you know, like so we learned how to walk and sit and things like that. So from there, I just grew into modeling, acting, you name it, I did it.
Yeah. How old were you when you started pursuing your acting and modeling?
Oh gosh, early. Probably my first acting school would be, I would say 12, maybe,
Oh, wow.
13.
So
Yes.
you went to modeling school when there was modeling school.
Yes.
That
Is
wasn't
that funny?
online.
Yeah, it wasn't online. It was like she would actually drive you there, and you'd have to walk down a little
Yeah, I
runway and
actually went to a modeling school back in the day. Have you heard of Barbizon?
yes, yes,
Yeah,
you
I
would
did that for I think a year because I was also pursuing acting and they convinced me, I convinced my parents to put me in Barbizon modeling school because they teach you how to do all these things. Is that what you did?
it was like that. It was like a more of a local, like I can't even remember the name, it was so long ago, but
Yeah.
I mean, they put you through like how to, talk. And did you ever have to put the book on your head and walk
I
and
learned how to wear a bun and how to walk down a runway.
all three of us went. My older sister was so mad. My mom made us go.
That is
But
so
they did
funny.
teach you like after that, they taught you how to do your makeup, and
Yeah,
like and it
right.
was I can't hate on it, right?
Yeah, there's some things that, you learned and you can take to, your next career or whatever,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so as time went on, like when did you really start pursuing acting? Like, did you move from Georgia to Los Angeles? Like, what was that transition like?
Well, when I was about, I guess, 16 and up, I started modeling a lot. So, I started doing like infomercials and things like that. And so I did two movies, like two, like kind of like bit parts of movies. I did Wild America and My Fellow Americans. And from there, I think I was like 19. I can't remember how old I was, 18 or 19. And I thought, well, I've kind of outgrown Atlanta. So I wanted to go to LA. So there was a production of The Real World, and it was Mary Ellis Bunham from not The Real World. I'm sorry. She did the Real World, and ours was
Yeah.
called Jam Bay. So we were doing this pilot that was all improv,
Mhm.
and so they went around the country and they auditioned people from like New York, California, Texas, all the certain places, and I got in, and so they flew us out to LA and we auditioned and I got the part. And what it was ABC picked it up and we did 6 episodes and literally it was all improv. So you would show up, you would get your outfit or whatever it was for the day, and they would say, hey, this is your task. And from there you went and you had to do these scenes with these people. So it was really amazing. It was a great experience. So that's the first thing that actually brought me out to California to
Mm.
act. And like I said, I was younger, but once we did that and I got the itch, we filmed it in Marina Del Rey. There was a place called Jamaica Bay Inn Hotel. So they took over the hotel, and we were there for 3 months filming this pilot that never aired. It was supposed to be a mid-season replacement, but
Wow.
it never aired. But as I'm talking, I remember I did Star Search. Do you remember
Yeah,
Star
I
Search?
do.
Way back in the day, and
Yeah.
apparently Brian did it too, and I had no idea.
In the acting category, you did Star Search?
I did spokesmodel. Is that
Oh, I
funny?
remember. Yeah, I
And we
remember
had to
those
do all this.
categories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was funny. I did spokesmodel. Obviously, when Brian did it, he was the entertainer part, the music part of it.
By
And
solo? He did solo for
no, it was their group.
really?
Is
I
that
don't remember
crazy?
that.
I don't either. And I guess it was just like they were on it, and it was when Ed McMahon was still on it. Remember all that.
Yeah, I know
So
Destiny's Child. I remember they did Star Search
yeah,
as a
is
group.
that funny? And you know who
Yeah.
else I just found out? Britney Spears did
Yeah,
it
Britney
too.
Spears. Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
it's so funny. So when Bailey was auditioning, obviously for American Idol, I was like, oh my gosh, it's ABC, it's reality. It's so
Full
weird how,
circle.
yeah, is
That
that
is so
crazy?
crazy.
We got that show, and it was like my first real as far as I guess where because eventually did Groundlings. I did a lot of improv, things like that, and that's when that got me moving out to LA, and I met two two gentlemen on this show that was in our production that had a house in Burbank, and they said, hey, we've got an extra room for rent, so if you want to come out. And I'm like, absolutely. So I literally packed up my stuff and moved out.
Wow.
We
And you were
moved
around 19 years
it
old?
was around, I believe I was, let's see, by that time, let's see, the show went on. I was starting to get into my 20s, 1920s. Goodness. Well, no, I'm sorry. Let me go back. Because this is how I have to do my life. I met husband when I was 27. So then I have to backtrack. After Jam Bay, I moved home. I kept working for a couple years and then kept in touch with the guys. And that's when they said they had a room. So I was like 25, 26 around that, before I actually did the move out.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
continuing along your journey, so you were asked to be in a music video, right? Because this is how you met Brian. Can you talk about that story?
Yes. So I was out. I'd been in LA about I think 8 to 10 months, and I got an agent. We did the whole thing. We did the mail in, and we had to do our headshots. And so I finally got an agent out there, and I was on an audition for a beer commercial. And as I'm walking to the audition, this is the stuff that happened to me out there. Like I was walking in and almost get hit by a car, and it was Pauly Shore. And he comes out of his car, and then obviously we started talking. We became friends for a little while, but I had walked into the audition and did my audition and then started to walk out, and I got a call for a music video. And I'm like, how in the world? So I guess the casting director saw my headshot and saw me go in. He pulled my headshot out of the beer commercial, put it in for the Backstreet Boys audition. And I did, again, we didn't know who they were at the time. They weren't out yet. And then he asked me to come audition. So I was like, all right. So, the rest I was the sixth girl added, which is really funny. There were only supposed to be five girls, but he really pushed for me. The director didn't like that too much, but he pushed for me and he wanted to actually go out with me. So, and that didn't
Wow.
happen. But great guy, really great guy. But and then that's when I met Brian. So like 8 months, I guess 8, 9 months into LA.
So, and I don't know if this is true, but was it love at first sight between the two of you?
Absolutely. It absolutely was.
Goodness.
Yeah. The crazy thing is again, we didn't know who they were. And I guess I was always taught in all my training to go, on set, introduce yourself to everybody, and just be cordial from lighting to, the main, I guess, actors, or what would you say? What do you call them? My brain is fried
Like
today.
the PAs and the whomever,
Yes, but
right? On
then
set.
yes, yeah, just everybody. So
Yeah.
I came up to Brian. I had all my clothes in my hand. I was like, "Hey," had no idea other than he was dressed better than everybody else. So I guess he was talent, right? And I said, "Hey," and he's like, "Hey, my name's Brian." And I said, "Hi, I'm Leah. It's nice to meet you." We both had our hands full, so we just kind of bumped hips, like instead of a handshake. And he said he saw my headshot when they were in the van coming to the shoot and wanted to meet me.
I'm
So
sorry. We need to see this headshot. This headshot's going around. This is a popular
to dig
headshot.
it up for you. I know I have a copy in Georgia. Yeah. And it wasn't, I think he just went through and I'm very like, I guess, all American, not, I'm just probably his type because he's a Kentucky boy.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. It's not funny. Yeah. So yeah, from there, we just literally talked. And the third day on the shoot, he asked me out and, I had plans. I actually did have plans. And I was like, hey, I'm not, free tonight, but I am free tomorrow. And he was like, well, I didn't ask you out for tomorrow night. And I was like, but we went out tomorrow night.
I love it. And you're both from the South. He's from
Yes.
Kentucky, right?
Yes.
So two
Yes.
Southerners in Los Angeles, almost like in a foreign country, because Los
It,
Angeles is so crazy from different parts of
yes,
the world. So you had that in
absolutely.
common. Like, what was it about this, spark between the two of you? What do you think? Like when you look back?
When I look back, I remembered he was just so genuine and he was when you looked into his face, like I always go for feelings and like I guess the energy people give off. And he was fun loving and sweet and a gentleman. When we talked, we actually had like a good conversation. It wasn't, this is what I've done. And, it wasn't like an ego
Competition.
thing. Yeah. So we just ate lunch that first day together and just hit it off. And again, neither one of us were looking for a partner or anything because we both gotten out of kind of relationships. And it just was easy. It just worked. It's kind of like when you meet somebody for the first time and you're just like, hey, like you feel like you've known them forever.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it felt.
Wow. And you guys were together ever since.
Yes, we've been together since that day. Is that crazy?
That's amazing. How long have you been married?
Let's see, almost 25 years. September, it'll be 25. We got married in 2000. And we were together like 3 years before that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so
Yeah.
much. So
And
as
see,
time, so I'm curious, okay, because they were just at the infancy of their career. Like when did they blow up when you guys were together? Like how long after you guys got together?
got together. Let's see. I'm so bad with dates, by the way. I'm
Me
like half.
too. So
You
it's
are too. Okay,
okay.
good. Because I'm like, if I say 19 and I meant 22, I'm sorry. Because I don't
Oh
even
no.
know. Like, I just know by
Yeah.
like instances, like traffic when you go turn left at the Taco Bell or whatever. Um, I think it was like, let's see, we were together probably 8 months. Let's see, we got together. He left for 3 months, which was crazy. And as soon as like they were in I think England or something. As soon as he came back, like he said, I'll call you when I come back. And he actually did. And I was like, showed up at my doorstep. He's like, can I come see you? I was like, what? Um, I went on tour with them. So they were big in Europe and all over before they were big in the United States. But I think it was like 98, 99, basically millennium, about the millennium age, right around in there, they started to really get big. But I traveled with them overseas to, his touring, and we had to ride in separate buses. We couldn't be seen together. I mean, it was crazy. Girls were just wicked mean.
Yeah, these groupies, you
And
got to be careful.
yes, I mean, they would pull hair. I got death threats. It was crazy, but we
Wow.
did. Yeah, we rode separate everything, and I saw the mania in Europe, and it scared me. Honestly, I was like,
Yeah.
"Wow, I had no idea," and it almost made me not date him, only because it was a very, it was
It's
very
a different
intimidating.
life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, and to see what they went through, and obviously early on they were being taken advantage of by Lou and
Yeah,
things
I
like
heard about
that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not a good situation, but it made me love him more that he could be humbled and strong in that because he could leave the country and he's Elvis, right? And
Yeah.
then come back and he's just us, just a
Yeah.
person, because
Yeah.
US wasn't privy to it yet.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big, like, just for you as a young person, you think you just have, oh, we just have this sweet relationship. And then what, maybe a year later, it's like he blows up and now it's
Yes.
like everyone
It
knows you and you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's crazy because we like, I mean, it was tough times, like the relationship part was like our phone calls were our dates, and then when he would go out and, like if he missed our phone call, that was a date. It was like standing me up. He's not great with communication still to this day. But I think when he to have a long distance relationship and then knowing how big he is, on tour and things like that, it was the trust thing was a big issue for me, and him probably my way because he's the normal jealous guy too, and I was an actor and things like that. But I think that was the best thing for our relationship was to get to know each other on that level. All we had was our phone conversations, and you had to talk and you had to communicate. There was no
Yeah.
texting. We had pagers, like even
Yeah.
the cell phones. You couldn't really, we did. I think we had the brick ones, the big brick cell phones, and
Old school.
old school. So yeah, I mean, it was communication was key, and it still is. I think it gets lost
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So as time went on, when did you get pregnant with Bailey?
So, let's see, I had him in 2002.
Was he on tour
Uh,
at the time or what was the dynamic?
we, good Lord, they were on a break actually. So I think we got married around Black and Blue. This is how I know my life around tour. And then when they were on their like kind of break hiatus, we got pregnant and, uh, gosh, I didn't believe I was pregnant to tell you the truth because I think it was they were doing something for a Grammy, I think a Grammy thing, and it was like the Elton John party or something, and I was like, we had one too many martinis, and that's how that Mr. Chow's and then home. But yeah, we got pregnant, and I did like 3 pregnancy tests. I was like, this can't be right. This one's out of date, because I was thinking I'm just starting, I'm just still pounding the pavement, and honestly didn't really want kids. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, he did, but I didn't. And I'm like, hey, let's think about this. But God wanted us to have kids, apparently.
Yes. Yeah.
So we got pregnant with Bailey and, everything changed. So
Wow.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you thought you were not going to have kids and then
No, I didn't.
surprise.
Yeah. I always call him my present. Yeah, he's a I won't say, I mean, it was a surprise, but it was a great surprise.
Yeah,
But I was
absolutely.
scared.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah, I
scared.
can imagine. So just going back a little bit, I know Brian is really strong in his Christian faith, and I think he's even done a Christian album. Now,
Yes,
what was that dynamic like when you guys first met? Like, was that something you had in common, or later on you started, you know what I
absolutely.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, what was that like?
No, I've always been a Christian. He's always been a Christian. We have the exact same beliefs, so that was, spot on. We That was probably one of the things that kept us, going together when you had to rely on God and faith. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing that gets you through anyway,
Absolutely.
personally for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Bailey got older, like what were you looking at as far as a mom and you were seeing different gifts that he had and talents? Like what were you thinking for him like he might do when he gets older?
You know what's funny? Because he's a quirky, lovely child, like very much. If you had put him, we homeschooled, so if you had put him in a normal school, I think they would have labeled him trouble just because he was so outgoing and he was the way he learned was a little bit different than everybody else. We homeschooled so that we could go on the road and travel, so that Brian could be a part of his life. And then Bailey got Bailey went to 11 different countries by the time I think he was 8 years old. So
Wow.
the things we were studying about, we were going like Mount Fuji and Berlin and where the Berlin Wall was. It was really amazing get to do that. But he got smarter than me after a bit, and so we
Yeah, that's
started.
good education, like kids traveling like that and seeing
Yes,
the
and
world.
it makes him a more well-rounded person,
Absolutely. Yeah.
with a better outlook on life and people. So what was funny is we didn't realize I mean, he was always acting and being funny, but we didn't realize he could sing. We were giving him piano lessons, and Michael Jackson had passed away, and it was on the news and all his music. And Bailey came in one day and was like, "Oh, baby, give me one more chance," and I was like, Bud, where did that come from? So he was singing old Michael Jackson, and he only knew again from. I mean, we played his Michael's new music, but I guess because of he had heard on the TV about they were doing all the stories on his life, he was singing that, and then his piano teacher. They were learning a Christmas song, and then Bailey was started singing, and he was like, "This has pipes." So this is how we found out, because honestly, he was acting, wanted to start acting when he was about 8, I think, and he had a little agent and would audition for commercials and things like that. But we just let him do his own thing. We didn't want to push that because obviously I know how the acting world is and the music business. It's not the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all the stories you hear are usually true. They're just, I used to call it the devil.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah, that's another conversation.
yeah.
No,
We
my
could talk
husband
all
works in the
day.
entertainment industry and filmmaking, and I dabbled into acting. So it's not something we would push on our kids. Of course, if God is leading them and that's their passion, you know what I mean? But it's not something
Yes.
we push. If
Well, you don't, and I think honestly, when you push it, it never works out that, your way or their way anyway. So we
hmm
just let him play around with that. And it just was something he was really, really interested in. I mean, if you look, since he was a baby, he's been on stage going, "Are you ready to see the Backstreet Boys?" Like he had no fear. And
Oh,
so, it was so cool. Now he has the fear, which is funny, but,
it's so funny when I hear him talk, he seems shy. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yes, he's shy in a way, and he's not like an egomaniac. He's very kind of like just laid back and a little bit insecure, not insecure, but I was not the confidence that he had when he was a kid. But there again, you see those kids skiing without poles when they're learning when they're kids because you don't have a fear. I think fear is taught, unfortunately,
Yeah.
in the world, or learned. Basically, we all have fear about things that we really. I think when you grow up, you have certain people tell you certain things, and even like you take the Bible and for instance, fear this, or fear God, and I think people take that the wrong way. For me, fear
Yeah.
God is love God, and I think with Bailey, he just learned through the entertainment business because he's literally grew up on tour. From the crib to a big boy bed was his bunk in the tour bus, and we had this little guard put on it, so he couldn't roll out, but he grew up on tour. And so I think as life went on and as he was under the microscope, he just kind of went inside a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it's almost like being in front of people, being on stage, it almost happened naturally for him. So he didn't have to have that fear or those guards because it was just kind of there. But maybe as he
Yes.
got older and he starts seeing, the reactions to certain things, as he got older, more mature, then, sometimes that fear can set in too. when you're thinking about
Yeah.
how people react to you.
Yeah, and you have the people you've got that we've had so many supportive people and the fans are just amazing with him, but
Yeah,
we've had it on the other side too where they critique everything he did. And again, he grew up in like front of cameras. And so he might have been a little butt one time or whatever, and somebody said something, and then Bailey has to, read that, or he has to, get that back. So I think too that was like I don't want people to see me do this, or I don't want to act out like this, or,
yeah,
and he sees dad being put under the microscope as well.
right,
So it just kind of causes you to be cautious, maybe. And then the
right.
caution turns into, not the confidence that you would normally, hi, everybody, I'm here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a
So
bit down. I mean, there's ups and downs to this, obviously.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, praise God, you have a platform. You can use your voice for good. You can get things out that maybe the average person can't. You know what I mean? Like getting a story out or a message out. So, yes, there's definitely a good side to it as well.
Yes, there's definitely both sides. It's very hard when they were calling him a nepo baby because of he's like the furthest thing, from that. He doesn't have like, yeah, he has the, privilege of being in the business and growing up with more money than maybe other people had. But if you sat down and met him and talked with him, you would know that you would never know that his dad was who his dad is, that
Yeah.
he's just very grounded. And that's how, again, I was raised. He was very close to my mom. So, we never took things for granted and we're always doing to others.
Yeah.
That's just our motto. And it's I guess when you hear all the people say, well, you could have just gotten a contract and you could have just, no, I mean, he met with every record label we could in Nashville. And, he was either turned down for because of who his dad was, or he was seen because of who his dad was. And they were like, well, why do you need us? Well, he's an entertainer. What do you mean? Why do you need us? So that's why we created actually created Briley Records, our label, our independent label for Brian's his Christian solo album. And we recorded that, and then we hooked up with a record label. Good Lord, I'll tell you, it'll come back to me in a minute.
Okay.
Provident record label hooked up with us, and I managed that. Brian through that, and we put his album together and recording and things like that. So when we did that, and I've been really instrumental in helping Brian like see the outsides of the industry, because when you're in it, it's so hard to see out of it. And if I'm on tour and I'm in the thick of it with him, I was trying to help, like, hey, come to light. This is like your manager's taking advantage of you, so and so's taking advantage of you, and you guys talk to each other and get together. And so it's always good to have somebody that's in your corner looking out for you. Having that going straight to, of course, I couldn't not help Bailey, or I couldn't help not help Brian and protect him so he didn't turn out like, unfortunately, some of these young kids look at Bieber. I mean, it's breaking my heart,
It is
like
so heartbreaking.
awful. I mean, Britney and Bieber, Selena, I mean, just all of them, it just tears me up. So
Yeah.
I don't want that for him in any way. And he doesn't either. He said, I'd rather just not have it and be able to write and, sing music, for the love of it than to end up like that.
Yeah. Well, I think just going back to Bieber and just like the young people, even the acting and, seeing some of these documentaries of how these child actors were taken advantage of. Maybe parents were unaware that there was that much darkness in the entertainment industry. So maybe
Yes.
they thought, oh, yeah, my son will be okay with so and so. They're famous. You know what I mean? Not
Oh, they'll take care
realizing
of them. Yes, they know their ropes. They
it's
sure do.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, not realizing how much evil is in the industry. You know what I mean? And
And
you
why
have to
would they?
watch your child. You cannot leave them by themselves with these
Right.
adults,
Well,
you
and you think
know?
about why would you think that? Because what we see on TV is everything's great, everything's wonderful. You see all the pluses and all the good
Yeah,
things. You never get
naive.
to
Especially
absolutely.
people who are not in the entertainment industry, or they don't understand it. They're just seeing it from, oh, look at these stars on TV.
Well, and it's so funny that you say that because just like Bailey auditioning for Idol, they asked him for 4 years, and we just kept saying no, 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 because
Wait, four
it's
years of what?
to audition. They've asked Bailey for 4 years
Oh,
straight.
really?
Yeah. And we just
Oh.
kept saying, no, thank you, not right now. And so finally this year we did, because Bailey was, gaining a lot of momentum and traction, and he was signed with CAA, and we had like a great thing going. And then he had a great agent, and then COVID happened, and all their newbies that they signed, everybody just released, obviously, for business reasons. So then it took Bailey, we had to start all over. And with that, it was a tougher route this time. And Bailey went to country. I'm gonna say he
Yeah.
loves country music, loves country music, but I think he mainly went into country to separate himself from his father, so he didn't
Mm,
get pigeonholed into that, the
yes.
pop world.
Right.
Because even Bailey now, he's such a soulful writer. He's more singer songwriter, things like that. Um, but he went into country, which was a really hard one for us to break into. Like that was something. But then after COVID happened and we had to start from scratch again, I consider that a blessing, because he got to learn, and he started writing like crazy, writing and learning, and it taught him so much, and we got to perform and season even more so, from a part where if he jumped on the bandwagon of the pop, he would have been thrown into the pop world and never known how, where to start, where would you start, and how to build up, and what people go through, and all aspects of it. So I'm very, very I think we're very blessed and grateful for that. But now it's still, we can put out an album. It's hard to get the recognition, it's hard to get the distribution, and it's just, again, it's a crazy business. So we let him audition, or he decided, we all talked about it, not we let him, but he decided to audition. We agreed that, hey, with these guidelines, we'll let you do this, and he did. And unfortunately, again, it was, we knew how it was going to go, and that they used Brian after they said, oh, we're not going to do that. And that was, we knew, because we're not those parents that
Hmm.
didn't know. But they obviously make you go into this meeting. So when he got to top 24, to circle back to the parents that don't know things, that their kids are thrust into this, and they see stars, and like, oh my gosh, we're going to be famous, my kid's going to be. Well, you go into these meetings with a record label that they have the record label you meet with, they tell what you want. Well, Bailey, knowing what it's all about, he was really instrumental in helping getting the contract down to where it was more conducive, or a little more fair for the artist that would win, that would have to sign this contract. So he was very instrumental in that, which was pretty fantastic. And that he also got that knowledge, because we weren't allowed as parents to be in there, even though I was his manager, because he
Wow.
was a minor. You're not allowed. So like there were two minors that I believe that were in there, that their parents were in there, and so they were all, a lot of them were all, oh my gosh, starstruck, and they don't know, they really don't know what could be waiting for you on the other side. So I'm just glad that Bailey got to be there for that part of it.
Yeah. And
um
also because of what Brian went through with
yes.
Lou, and him being taken advantage of, him and the Backstreet Boys and some other boy bands, their contracts not being very lucrative because these managers, inserting themselves and getting most of the money. Because you had that experience, you knew what to look for with these contracts for Brian. I mean, I'm sorry, for Bailey.
Yes, yes. And for Brian Solo too,
Oh,
when,
his
even
solo,
though,
right.
too, but because even when we were partnering up with them, like, all of a sudden I was like in like record label meetings, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna dive in here, and teach myself how to, fight and mainly. And now I know, because of Bailey, why really I was put in that position, which is really good. We just didn't realize Bailey picked up on all of it, to tell you the truth, because our life, this is just our life. This is like
Yeah.
y'all talking about school today, or what you did at work today. This was like, stuff that he picked up on, that we weren't even really realizing that he did, and then until that moment. So we're really
That's
proud of him.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying if he would have won Idol, the contract was already set in place and already negotiated prior.
prior. And so what the record label can do, obviously, is I think it's Hollywood Records, is they can choose to pick you up or not. And
Oh,
so, and then they also say, well, if you want out, you can get out. But, I don't know that part of it. I haven't been on that side of it. But I do know that it wasn't our intention to get him to win. Where however far he got, it was great because it helped his confidence. It helped him learn and grow, and that's all we wanted. We wanted the world to see Bailey,
mhm.
outside of, because he's got Backstreet Boy fans from all over the world, but it almost stops there. So we needed to, like people to really see who Bailey is. And I
Yeah.
think they got, a little bit of a taste of it from interviews and the songs he writes and things like that.
Yeah. And how long have you been his manager? And you're managing him now as well, right?
Yes, yes. No longer Brian.
Look,
That's a hard one, but yeah.
yeah.
So Bailey's, gosh, since he started singing, so
So
since
since
he
the
was
Michael Jackson,
16. Yeah, this is he can smoke, and he made me like. Listen, I didn't know Bailey's introduced me to so much music, like the Temptations. He's in love with, and he loves like Michael Bublé. I mean, I did know all the Frank Sinatras and things like that, but he introduced me to so much more music than I probably wouldn't have listened to, and
yeah,
he just finds it, in that. But um, yeah, since he was six, right, 15, probably 15, because he came out with his first album, 16.
yeah. So what's next for him? Is he coming out with an album? Like what is next after Idol, I guess?
So June 24th, we're coming out with Hey Jesus.
Oh,
We ran into the studio after he was eliminated, and we recorded 5 songs, and that was one of them because that's everybody's heartstrings. Everybody like just connected with this song. It's pretty amazing. So we did acoustically. It's mixed and mastered and ready to come out. And we just hired a new PR girl, and it's called Hi Hello. And so we just signed that. I actually will have a meeting with her today at 5, and we'll start it all over. Here we
wow.
go. And then we'll
Yeah.
follow up with an album. We'll have a couple more singles and then follow up with an album.
Now, is this under the country label?
This is singer-songwriter. So, but like, here's the thing. There's no genres anymore really, or so it's good this way. He's more singer-songwriter. He has some stuff that's country, some stuff that's pop, a little bit R&B. So he's got a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
um he's even folky a little bit, but Christian, obviously. He's written
Yeah.
another Christian song that I posted, Heal Me Jesus. It's just,
Wow.
it's really, really good. But and after my mom passed, look,
Oh, I'm so sorry, Leighanne. How was that recently? 3 weeks ago?
3 years ago, if you
Oh,
can
3 years
imagine.
ago.
Yeah, so we didn't deal with it really the first. I mean, we dealt with it, but it gets worse instead of better.
Well, as time goes on and you see different moments in life that your loved one missed, I feel like that brings upon a lot of memories.
And she's very instrumental in his life every single day. He's so funny. He does people's personalities and impersonations. So he does my mom almost to a T. So we'll sit in the living room, and I feel like I'm sitting visiting with my mom. He's like, Leighanne or darling, and he'll go through conversations. He has her speech patterns because we built her house on our property behind us. So before homeschooling, he would go up almost every morning, sit and have coffee with her, like from a baby on. They always had their coffee together, breakfast, and he would come down and do school. But he spent so much time with her, and it's very much who he is as a person today. So, and we're very thankful for that. But I think he went through a really, really bad time after she passed, and obviously he started smoking pot, and got into that for a little while, which was concerning. But I feel like I had enough he had enough of a handle on it to where I let him just go through it without intervening, because it didn't get so bad that it was scary. But he reeled himself back and stopped completely everything. But he like, like mentally it was depression, like a deep depression. So he writes all these songs about suicide and deep, deep stuff. And it's just so funny. So we've got this spectrum of, you know, Hey Jesus and Heal Me Jesus to, we call oh, did we write another suicide song today? So we have to, talk through it, laugh it off. But some really deep music that came from, the loss of my mother, the industry, and then just stuff in your family, your
Yeah.
DNA, so to
Yeah.
speak.
And I feel like all those songs could help people going through their different stages in life. It could help bring
Absolutely.
healing in some way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just as we wind down the conversation, just going back to you because you do so much. Tell me everything that you do right now. I know you're managing Bailey right now. Like, can you just tell me everything that you're doing and also any other passions that you want to do that maybe you don't have time to do right now?
Wow.
That's a big
Okay. Well,
question. I know.
it
I'm
is.
sorry.
No, it's not. Like it's because I'm so creative. I'm very just love to create, love to give parties. I
Yeah.
love to decorate. I mean, love that. Love, love that all that. If I had my way, I would have we did have a event house that we tried to start, and the neighborhood wasn't having it where we did it. Beautiful parties, and it was just amazing. So I would love, to be involved in something like that. Like I guess I love to decorate and I love to throw the parties, but sometimes I don't like to be involved in them. So I like to set it up and do it and then kind of step out. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of fun. But with Briley Records, I am the president of Briley Records, and we've only done, we set it up for Brian for his solo. And then now Bailey, we've done everything that he's done. So I pretty much do everything there is to do. That's why we've hired Bobby Klebanoff. He's our website guy. He also helps me like vet people, and he's really, really been instrumental in some of the travel because we're actually putting together Bailey a small tour. So I'm doing that right now. And I'm everything. I do I do hair and makeup for him. I help him with his clothes. I mean, when I say it's mom and pa ground up, but I do everything. We do song selections. I hire the band, set up rehearsals. So I'm really like tour manager, record
Yeah.
label, everything that goes along with it. That's me. And it works. Like we have a great, great, great relationship. But now I'm starting to hire help. It's like, hey, we need a PR media. We need somebody to help me day to day and things like that. um it's the business is hard, and it's harder now because of the internet and how many people can just jump on and release music and where you are in the shuffle, and things like that. So just I'm learning constantly.
Yeah.
I also run my house
Yeah.
and this house and our lives, and it's it's a crazy life. We have 20,000 square foot home in Georgia with like 40 acres of land. And so,
Wow.
yeah, that's like a full-time job in
That is,
itself.
no, it is really because you have to manage the house, you have to manage who comes there, the workers that you hire, everything. That's a
Yes.
big job.
And staying humble and honest to God, it's the most important thing to me, is just to be people and just normal people, just like everybody else. It doesn't matter the dollar, it just matters your heart. And we just keep God first and foremost in our lives. And we're not perfect by any means, and we fail, and we get back up. But I think
Yeah.
without failure, you don't know what success is.
Yeah, I love that you encourage your son to pursue his passions because I
Yes,
think
thank
some
you.
moms don't know how to do that. Like their child may want to do something, like your parents encourage you. So it was
Yes.
easy for you, but it's not easy for every mom to allow their kids to pursue their passions, because they want to stifle it or they say, oh, you don't want to do that. So do you have any words of encouragement just as we leave out
Constant.
like it to moms who maybe their kids want to pursue something but they may not think it's the best for them, like what would you say to that?
I would say, as far as that's concerned, and just having a relationship with your child, listen. I mean, listening to your child. And the way Bailey and I work is I know it's kind of like you're saying, hey, don't cross the street or you're going to get in trouble. Guess what they're going to do is they're going to cross the street. So, hey, how about, are you curious about what's across the street? Well, let's go together. Or, I would be careful about yes and no's and you're not and you are. I mean, with Bailey and I, discussions, communication, being open and remembering. My big thing is remembering I was that age too. I was your age when, and how you felt at that age, and remembering that you were 8, you were 18, you were 23, and so to be able to go to that place and instill like what you wish you could have heard, what would have comforted you then. And, again, I always think is a plus and minuses of my mom. My dad really wasn't so much in my life, but with my mom, she wasn't perfect, but I took my very best things of her and I try to keep those. And the things that I wish that she could have like been there for me or done better, I'm there for that. So if I say I'm going to do it, I absolutely will do it. And I think listening to your kids, knowing what they're into, and trying to be in their space, in their world, without pushing yourself on them, or that's the most important thing I could think of. I have the best relationship with my kid.
I love that so much. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that maybe you want to share, or any misconceptions you want to just get out there?
Well, I'm not mean.
Not at all.
People think I'm like people. I get so many like she's such a big, and I'm like, no,
Okay,
I
let me just say
really,
on record, because I was at the Easter American Idol. I don't know if you remember, I was covering the event as a Christian
yes.
content creator. You were so sweet. I'm just, whoever's listening, this is the sweetest person ever. And you and Brian were so cute because the whole time you were like so affectionate to one another. I loved seeing that. So that was so real. You're real and genuine. So whoever's listening, I'm just going to put that out.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I just love people and I love life, and I'm a champion for people. And if I can give, I will give. The Again, everybody says, Leighanne, you got to be more selfish, a therapist. I can't. So I just love to give to people, and my kid and my husband and my family are first and foremost.
Okay, this is the last question. I know I keep saying that. Okay, one more thing, because I know Brian travels a lot. Like, how do you keep your marriage dynamic, with him? I know you travel with him at
Yes.
times. What, do you travel with him all the time?
You know what, less since we've had a child, we
Yeah, and
we
you have a
we did.
full
And then I've
plate.
got like, the house, and I'm like, Brian, you can't keep buying stuff, babe. I don't I don't have enough time.
So how do you
I
keep that spark going, after all these years?
Yes, I think like again, communication, because we've hit some rough patches in marriage, obviously, and there are times when you just want to throw your hands up and say it'd be easier without you, but you kind of just have to. The way we've done it is just settle into it and again, listen and talk. It's so hard, when somebody would get, you try to have a conversation with each other and you get in a marriage, how you get offended or you breathe, just take a moment and you breathe and, you figure out, hey, this is how we feel now, but are we going to feel this way in a week, a month? And communication again is key. Nothing's easy, but I think if it's worth working on, it's worth having. you
Absolutely. I
know
love that.
Thank you, you're delightful, by the way. Thank
Oh, thank you
you.
so much. So, Leighanne, where can people find you if they want to know more about you or Bailey and what's coming out? Like, is there a newsletter or a website that you can direct them to?
Well, Bailey's got his own website, and it's Bailey. You know what, I'm going to email you.
I think
What
it's
is
Bailey Littrell.
It's Bailey Littrell, because we changed. I think they had changed something, so I just didn't want to give you the wrong
Oh,
thing.
okay. So I'll put it
Might
all
be
in the
Bailey
show
Littrell
notes.
Music is his. Yes.
I'll
Yeah.
put everything in the show notes so people can find you, or Bailey.
Do that. Just Bailey's website is like the best way to keep up with Bailey.
Okay.
Brian Littrell has his website too.
Yes.
We have this. We have pretty much those updated all the time. There's an information page there, or how to contact the Littrells or things like that on the website, so you can find that there.
Awesome. Thanks so much for listening today. If you're still trying to figure out how to monetize your God-led passion, then click the link in the show notes to get my audio bundle plus the printable workbook for only $27. I promise you this will help you along your journey. Click the link in the show notes and get that today. Until next time.